there's been an accusation tonight, Mr. Speaker, that somehow Democrats were not involved in the discussions of this bill. And of course, not everybody on that side of the aisle was involved. Not everybody on this side of the aisle was involved in the discussions, in the crafting of the legislation, on the crafting of the amendments. But I would call the witness and allow them to dispute it if they would. The ladies from the 9th, the 12th, the 77th, and the 8th, if I did not approach them in the last 48 hours and ask them, what policies do you need to see in this bill to make you comfortable with the bill? You'll see, Mr. Speaker, and those people who are involved in some of those conversations, they already knew some of those amendments already, because I already told them they were going to be in there. I told them I got this idea from the representative from the, there it is, 8th. I said, I got this idea from the lady from the 8th. So I drafted it. I gave it to our folks over here and said, I think this is a good idea. I think it's an idea we can agree on. More than one. Our caucus could attest that last night at our caucus, and we don't normally talk about what happens in caucus, but I could talk about what I did. I stood in front of our caucus and I said, these are some reasonable ideas presented from the other side of the aisle, and I think we should take them up. And our caucus looked at it, and there was some pushback on some aspects of it, but eventually we all came around and said, you know what? These are overall reasonable asks. And so they're before us today. And I had conversations this morning throughout the course of the day saying we're going to be talking about childcare quite a bit today. There's plenty of opportunity for you to come approach me, approach the chairman from the elections committee, pull us off the floor. We'll go into the parlor, we'll go into an office, and we'll have additional discussions about what you need to see to be comfortable with the bill. Because we want a bipartisan vote out of this. As a matter of fact, you'll notice that one of the amendments is literally says we have to have a bipartisan vote to pass a map. It's in there. We have to have a bipartisan vote to pass a map. I would finally note that we had a Democratic senator coming over to our house today trying to find if there was a way for her to convince Democrats in the Assembly to keep the process moving forward and vote yes on this bill. Yes, with some amendments. We're open to amendments. The Speaker has said he is open to amendments. I have desperately tried to ask the folks on that side of the aisle, what is it that you're missing? And we've got nothing. They would say they want to send it to committee. Okay? Said we can't pass a bill without going to public hearing. It's somehow an insult to democracy. I didn't hear a whole lot of complaints from that side of the aisle literally today when we passed a bill on this floor without having a hearing in our house. We passed one today without a hearing in this house on that bill. And not a single person stood up on that side of the aisle and had a problem with it. Stood up and complained and said, that's not the process. If you're going to be consistent that that's a necessity, Mr. Speaker, then you need to be consistent. It is in our rules that that the Speaker can direct refer bills to the floor. Is it used on a regular basis? Certainly not. If you don't like the bill overall, I get it, but the overall principle, you've said you support. You've said it. You've introduced bills saying it, but somehow you're not willing to work with us to get to a yes. It's unfortunate, and I'm sorry, a little disingenuous. Let's I hope to still get some votes from that side of the aisle. As we have shown in good faith, we are willing to take your amendments. But one way or another, let's move it forward, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.